Hey guys, I'm creating this video for a lot of the people that I talk to in Minnesota that I still have relationships with, that don't necessarily have the time to sit and watch all of the stuff that we do on a daily basis at Cutternation through social media. So this is just another way for me to get that to you. So essentially, I'm just going to tell you how to look at our social media. So if you're not on social media, then you can still look at this stuff through the internet. You just have to access it. Yeah, you can access it. We're public, so you don't need to have an account to do this. But so the basis of what we're teaching is, I'll go for younger kids first. Like the mechanic part is you need to know what the gun is, and then how we train it. So we're basically we do something called opposite foot first, which is a variation of a pivot pick. So you've seen a lot of my pivot pick off work. It's similar to that, simplified lower half, a little bit more complicated upper half. But complicated in that we're just putting you in a place where you have a little bit more freedom. So sometimes kids can screw that up, but we're pretty good at teaching them how to throw well out of that. So from an upper half standpoint, it's just learning how to throw from the gun. The other pieces are from the gun that the hands always move together. So if the left hand, as a righty, if the left hand moves at a 5 out of 10, the right hand should be moving at a 5 out of 10. And I mean from a tempo and a speed standpoint. So from that gun position, kids will figure out, what their authentic gun feels like. But it is a high glove position, low hand position on the throwing side, and that's relative to the person. So everybody's gun ends up being a little bit different, but they're all more similar than they are different. It's just relative to the other things that you see. So we see a lot of low glove side, high arm side patterns, like something that I saw back in Minnesota all the time, dating back to a long time ago. When Gene used to say you'd rather have your arm, the height of your shoulder or slightly above, just that is not true. And we talked about that. This is something that we ironed out, right away. Gene immediately quit saying it just because I just showed him people weren't doing that. So familiarizing yourself with the gun and then understanding our rules. And the first rule is the hands always move together. They always move in sync. The second thing is that the hands never cross. So when kids go to follow through, a lot of times the glove hand will stop and the throwing hand will try to continue to follow through, and it will run into the glove or cross over the glove side hand, or under. It doesn't matter. They just should never cross any way, shape, or form, because we want the glove side to continue. And with that, the third rule is that the glove side and hand continue past the front hip. So these things were something that these three things were something that John was holding close to his chest when I came here, and he didn't want to talk about them. But, I've been talking about them on a daily basis. They're in our content nonstop, and nobody's reaching out and going, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? So they work for us, and it might not seem that significant from the outsider's perspective, but we feel that they are huge because when those things are happening, when we can get kids to know where the gun is and where their gun is, that in and of itself, I've told John this, it obviously helps with patterns, but it also helps with sequencing. Like, it gives kids a sense of timing before they even understand that they're doing things for timing. So it's a great tool. And it is all over baseball. It's somebody said to me the other day that they have seen it all the time in the game, but they just never see people teaching it. That's what we feel too. It's the same thing. So we're aware that it's not new. We're not saying things new. We're just, our spin on it is unique, and we are just seeing it working. So get to the gun. Know the three rules. The three rules are the hands always work together from the gun position, always work together, and to the gun position. The hands always work together. The hands always work in unison. The hands are always moving at the same time. I think that's how John said it. The hands always move at the same time. Okay? The second thing is the hands never cross. The third thing is that the hands always go past the glove side hip. So for righties, that left hip. We've got to go all the way past. The last piece is what I want to touch on, and we're actually going to be doing a podcast tomorrow with Kurt Hughes of Ignite Baseball, and these are some of the things that we were talking about, but the system and the way that our kids are getting better is through consistent practice. Nothing is nothing unique there, nothing mind-blowing there, but people aren't doing it or making it affordable. So the people that are creating environments where kids can practice that much typically don't have the expertise that we do in private instruction or in the private sector, however you want to think about it. And I've just always been in the private sector going, we need to do what teams do, what some of the best coaches do, because kids are going to get so much better in that environment. So typically when the environment is there, then the knowledge isn't there. So really all we're doing is that. So, I'm going to make a little shout out because some of you might know him, but like Beak was one of the only people that worked with me on a consistent basis. There are other players that they would do instruction with me once a week, which is a lot and is a huge investment financially in the way that it's set up with private instruction, and they would do a ton of work on their own. But the fact that Beak came in all the time, used his membership to come in all the time, that was the difference maker. So, I find myself giving myself a little bit more credit, because a lot of this is like, oh man, John is the best. I've never seen this before. And he is the best. He is a fantastic baseball resource. But I'm just also realizing that, I'm very capable of doing this. And the before and after pictures of Beak are fantastic. And I'm simply saying that is a large product of the environment. Because I say this all the time here. If you just put our kids in a situation where they can practice 3 to 4 times a week with the right resources and a radar gun behind them, and a video camera on them consistently, it's just, you don't even have to say anything, right? So if you show them, okay, here are the drills. I'm not going to tell you like anything besides like, you got to make it look like the drill, right? So if I say lift up your leg, step and throw, and you lift up the incorrect leg and throw with the opposite arm, like that's going to be a problem. So we at least have to direct them into how to essentially do our system, but after that, it's them having the freedom to do it. So my point is like in a vacuum, okay, if our kids came in, learned the exercises, and then just train for the next 6 months with the tools, right, with the plyo-care balls, with bands, with the intention of trying to get better, right? They have to want to be there, else this wouldn't work very much. They have to want to get better. Which most kids do, I think, and then the radar gun behind them. So if those things are there and the goal is like, hey, get better, and don't throw if your arm hurts, that's really it. So I'm getting a little bit down a rabbit hole towards the end here, but my point is the system matters and the way that you're attacking this matters. It is not just the content. The content is important so you know that you're being as efficient as possible, but that's only relative. Like I'm constantly evolving. All of the best coaches are constantly changing what they're doing. So if you're not hearing a different message over an extended period of time, like that's also concerning as well. But so that's why the system is important, so you at least can buy into something and know that it has structure and on a way and something to attain, right? Something for you to reach towards, because that's so important. So you need to have something that allows you to practice on a consistent basis and to reach toward. And then from a pitching standpoint, one more time, we got to the gun. Hands always move together. Hands never cross, and they always go past the front hip. So hopefully this is helpful. You got to just send me video if you want help on the drills, but know the drills. You can find all of them on our Instagram. You just have to dig a little bit, but I label things all the time. Check in on our story daily. There's many other ways for you to do that. YouTube channel, John has a bunch of stuff, so put a little effort in on your end to reach out, ask me some more questions. This is really, really good stuff. And it's so simple. So all of our kids are getting better, and that's what matters most. So agree or disagree with exactly how we say everything, at the end of the day, we're making kids significantly better and have proof of it. So, yeah! Thank you for caring. Thank you for asking for this to even exist. I appreciate all of you. If you are on social media, make sure you're communicating back and forth with us. Like, post videos of yourself, post videos of your kids. Tag me in it. Tag John Sintes. Tag Cutternation. Do whatever. We are very able and willing to communicate back and forth with a lot of people that we're not currently working with. So we have a lot of room to grow, and all we have is resources. So reach out to us. Let us know if there's any way you can help. We love doing this, and the more we can help, the better. So, hey, have a great day, and you'll probably be listening to me soon.